Title: Try to ruin a small family business. All your effort was for nothing. Sorry if this isn't technically revenge, but I wanted to share. My uncle runs a small family business that was passed down from my grandfather and possibly from before then. He will eventually pass it on to his son. This small family business has been based in a small village in the UK for decades, possibly over 100 years, and in the ensuing years they built a load of new builds in this small quiet village. Now once a week my uncle's business gets a lorry delivery to restock. Now I understand it can be annoying having big lorries in small roads, but this is limited to trading hours. Some people moved into the new builds and managed to successfully campaign to the council to stop trucks from being able to drive through the village. They were hoping that lorries would not be allowed to deliver to the business and effectively ruining it or forcing it to move. Now the great part about this is that the new edict does not include lorries that have official business in the village, i.e. making deliveries. Title: Family member was nasty to me, so years later I made him suffer. I married into a family that has a not so pleasant narcissistic family member. He tends to big note himself while talking shit about everyone else. I found out he once used a very derogatory slur towards me when I first was dating my now DH. I never forgot he had done this, although many years had gone by. He had also insulted my DH numerous times since then. One day we were all visiting family at a picnic an hour away from where we and also this family member lived. As my DH and I were saying goodbyes and getting ready to leave, I saw his car keys on the table, so I pocketed them. Title: How to get rid of a grade A clinger. I was cleaning recently and found a diary of mine from the bad old days, and it had entries in it that documented part of this story, and I thought I'd share one of the most petty things I've ever done. When I was around 14, I met this girl, Eliza, who was 12 or something, while walking to school with my family. I don't remember why my family was there, since I was allowed to walk to school on my own, but whatever. She was just standing there on the corner holding a little packet that apparently contained something really spicy, and she said she was doing some sort of challenge with this stuff to raise money for something. But I'm almost certain she wasn't doing that. She seemed off to me, but my parents seemed to think she was fine and let her walk with us. We got to school and she walked to the public school across the road. That afternoon, I was walking home with my best friend, who we'll call Pearl, and we come out the gates of our school, chatting away, and there she is, on the opposite side of the road, just standing there, waiting for me. At the time I was still very much a goody two-shoes Christian girl taught to be friendly, so I did the awkward introduction, and we start walking home. Eliza lived on a street off mine a bit further down from my house, and Pearl lived on another street down the end. For most of the walk, I was trying to be friendly, but I just couldn't get over how weird she came off. I left them at my house, and they kept walking together. The next morning Eliza was waiting for me in front of my house with a big stick. It would continue like this for a while, and then Eliza started telling us stuff that made us uncomfortable and also straight up lying to us. One day she said her dad was in the army, the next day she said he was dead, on another day she said she was an orphan in a foster home, and on yet another day, she said he was in jail for drugs and touching kids. She would lie about anything and everything under the sun and had absolutely no filter on what stuff she would tell us. Pearl and I were kinda dumb, but not that dumb, and we figured something was up, because this kid had issues and her issues had issues. We got sick of it. We started trying to find ways to get Eliza to leave us alone. After her not going away when we told her to, Pearl and I sat down one lunchtime and made a list of ways that might get her to go. During the next few weeks, we slowly crossed off and ruled out most of our options, doing things like cutting across the school grounds to come out a different way, leaving early, leaving late, trying to make a different route home, but she'd always find us, and when she caught up she would scream and bitch about us leaving her behind. One morning I even tried to get my mum to tell her I'd already left, but obviously my mother thought I was being stupid and fetched me to go walk with that nice little friend to school. Pearl and I thought there was nothing we could do. We couldn't tell the school. They could hardly stop a student from another school from following us home, and even if they could have, they wouldn't, because they didn't do shit when we got bullied. Pearl and I were done. We were sick of Eliza and her creepy, clingy, lying behavior. We had to do something, and luckily, the perfect opportunity came in the form of a school excursion. It seemed like a plan that wouldn't work, but we did it anyway. We made sure Eliza never found out that we were disappearing for a week on a school trip, and waited for the day when we left. On the day, we had to go to the school 3 hours early to get on the bus. We left for the excursion with no trouble. I found out when I got back that Eliza had come to the house and waited for me, and when I didn't show, she went up to the door to ask my parents to send me out, only to find out that I'd left 3 hours earlier on a trip and wouldn't be back for a week. She must have gotten real mad with us, because when we came back, Pearl and I had our walking time back and it was like Eliza had vanished.